All right, I'm good to go.
One second.
Alright.
I had to eat that beef fajita. All right, let's go. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Pete Jameson presiding.
Y'all
Hey, shut the fuck
You
up.
may be seated. I'm going to go over a few rules before we start. No hats in the courtroom. This is your one and only warning. I also ask that you stay off your cell phones while court is in session. This is your one and only warning for that as well. And if you are not wearing a shirt, please put one on now. Alright, before we begin, does either side have any pretrial motions?
I do.
Alright, go ahead.
I'll be motioning for the sworn affidavit
Ask her to
of
speak up.
Mr. Bradley, Mr. Hart and Miss Garcia, who is formerly Bennett, to be accepted into the court due to their unavailability. One due to sickness, and the other one due to Liberty City issues.
Does the defense have a rebuttal to that?
No, sir.
Then that motion will be accepted.
I will submit this other one that wasn't on the docket now, then.
Alright, go ahead.
Jameson, you have some people that are still wearing hats on the right hand side and do-rags or beanie.
Real quick, could one of the law enforcement officers in here please escort anybody still wearing a hat out?
I'll let Bubba know he just got in here though.
Yeah, that was also the first time I heard that. I didn't hear that earlier. That was the first time I heard it.
Okay, I have one more motion. You should be able to see that Hart affidavit as well now.
Yeah, I didn't hear him either.
Hey, make sure you're speaking in the microphone
My second
too, Jameson.
motion is due to the unlawful practice of law by a layman being done by Mr. Rakeem Washington.
I know what you're talking about.
Does
Objection.
the defense have a rebuttal to their second motion?
Yes, I object.
What is your rebuttal?
I'm a lawful lawyer, and she is lying, sir, on the stand, and I think she is subject to perjury.
We're going to go ahead and approve her motion. Mr. Washington, could you please step back out into the gallery?
Oh, man, I tried, man. Sorry.
Some bullshit.
I also want to move for whatever the person is that's sitting in between the chairs to be removed from
That's
the
my
gallery.
translator, bro.
What are you having translated? No,
It's like-
motion stands.
He's like my service dog. I need him.
Yeah, she's an asshole.
Snooze.
No, stay, bro. He ain't
What is
taking me.
your... Alright, then the motion will be accepted.
Damn it. Y'all preying on my downfall.
Alright, prosecution, are you missing any witnesses?
The two affidavits have been submitted. The other one is present.
Who the fuck is David?
Can we get the names for the prosecution and the defense for the record?
There is Johnny Rogers that is present.
Alright, and... we'll now be moving out of pre-trial motions unless the defense has any they'd like to submit.
Nah, I'm good.
Alright, then court is now in session for the state of San Andreas versus Marshaun Bradley, case number 21-19446. Judge Jameson presiding. Prosecution, state your name for the record.
Kennedy Cartwright, Assistant District Attorney.
Alright, defense, state your name for the record.
Marshaun Bradley, innocent until proven guilty.
That's my boy.
We will be moving on for both parties to go into their opening statements. Prosecution, you have the floor.
technically, I usually just as a formality, I
Oh.
usually list the charges, if that's okay.
That is my bad. Please list the charges.
Lovely. Okay, PC 1106, armed federal bank robbery. PC 2106, hostage taking state. PC 3112, fleeing, evading law enforcement by foot. PC 2309, felony evading law by vehicle. PC 2234.3, times 3, criminal possession of government issued equipment. PC 3211, possession of valuable goods. I will be dropping PC 3302 due to the fact that I do not have proof of the unregistration. PC 3207, possession of illegal contraband. PC 3306, resisting arrest.
Thank you very much. We'll be moving into opening statements now. Prosecution, you have the floor.
You need to ask him his plea.
Oh, so how do you plead, Mr. Bradley?
Not guilty.
To all charges? Ask if it's to all charges.
To all charges, or
Can you go over them one more time?
Go one by one and ask him how does he plead then.
Absolutely.
you
PC
so much.
1106, armed federal bank robbery.
Guilty.
PC, okay. Guilty to that one? Okay. PC 2106, hostage taking state.
Guilty.
PC 3112, fleeing, evading law enforcement by foot.
Guilty.
PC 2309, fleeing, evading law enforcement by vehicle.
Not guilty.
Okay. PC 2234.3, which is the 3 times criminal possession of government issued equipment. That is for 3 IFACs found.
Not guilty.
PC 3211, possession of valuable goods.
Not guilty.
PC 3302, possession. Oh, sorry, this one I'm dropping. It's the unregistered firearm because I don't have proof of unregistration. PC 3207, possession of illegal contraband.
Guilty.
PC 3306, resisting arrest.
Guilty.
So I believe that is just vehicle, the possession of the government issued equipment, the valuable goods, and that's the 3 he said not guilty to.
he
Yeah, for
said
sure.
not guilty to felony evading law enforcement vehicle, the 3 times possession of government issued equipment, and the possession of valuable goods.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Now that we have his plea, we can move on to opening
I'm not
statements.
gonna remove my cat in my courthouse. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Okay,
Prosecution.
I will pardon in which the parts of proof regarding the guilty pleas are in here. But okay, the state is presenting a straightforward, clear-cut case against defendant Bradley today. The security alarm was triggered at a Pacific Standard Bank, and upon arrival, 4 suspects were present holding up 2 hostages. One of these suspects was Marshaun Bradley. Hostage negotiations were completed, and the suspects fled the bank in a blue Sultan. This chase took place for about 30 to 35 minutes. The defendant then exited the vehicle and began evading on foot. This can be seen in the 2 affidavits submitted and what will be seen or spoken about in the witness statement on the stand. He was chased by Officer Rogers and Officer Bennett from that point, and then Officer Hart joined in a foot pursuit when they got to Legion Square. The defendant continued to evade, requiring the officers to tase him in order to stop his evasion. He then got up and continued to evade multiple more times while being tasered and required being stopped with a nightstick. He was placed under arrest and searched incident to the arrest, in which the possessions of the defendant can be seen as Exhibit 1A and 1B. He was found to have 3 blue key cards, 22 valuable goods, an unregistered pistol, though I'm dropping that charge, 3 police-issued IFACs, 2 lockpicks, and a crack pipe. The defendant was taken to MRPD for booking. He was fingerprinted as seen in Exhibit 2, and his photo was taken as seen in Exhibit 3. There's no reasonable doubt as to the facts of this case. defendant was at the scene of the bank robbery, participated in the robbery and hostage taking. He then fled in a vehicle and on foot from the bank. He was arrested and found with items that were robbed from that bank with the paraphernalia used to hack the bank system. He had police equipment on his person and a crack pipe, which is illegal contraband. The state believes that even as the evidence stands, there's no question of reasonable doubt. To further the case, the state will present an officer witness whom can confirm the defendant's presence and evasion up until arrest, so that there is no doubt to this case and that the defendant is found guilty on all charges. Thank you.
Defense, your opening statement?
Yeah, basically this is like a clear-cut case of police brutality on my part. That motherfucker beat me on the ground like 8 times. I was stood still the whole time, hands were up, he was still beating my ass. That's about it.
Now that we're moving past opening statements, moving into witnesses. Prosecution, would you like to call witness?
Yes, I'll call Johnny Rogers to the stand.
What up, John?
Do you solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Come over here next to this chair. You should see the microphone there.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, can you state your name and position within your department for all to hear?
Johnny Rogers, Senior Officer, LSPD.
Lovely. Can you tell me about this incident that occurred and when you arrived at the bank?
Well, we responded to a bank. We saw Marshaun there. Of course, at that time we didn't have confirmation it was him. However, he was there with his buddies robbing a bank. After we got the demand set, we left the bank. There was a chase going on, and at one point their vehicle got disabled.
Objection.
What is your objection?
I never entered any vehicle. I was on foot the entire time.
Would the defendant like to plan to put himself on the stand?
Nah.
Okay, then we'll just let his statement stand.
The objection will be overruled.
Who's the judge here? You or her, bro?
Bruh, speak with your chest, Judge.
You were correcting facts, sir. It's not a real
This is
objection.
Straight up biased.
He biased.
Please
Train on my
refrain
downfall,
from
bro.
any outbursts in court.
Okay, Mr. Rogers, can you continue from the fleeing in a car point?
Yeah. So basically, after the car got disabled, Marshaun was on foot. We chased him, me and Bennett caught up to him. I was in my vehicle as well. Officer Hart was on foot. He caught up back to the suspect. And then basically, because he was still resisting, we decided to basically disable him from the baton.
How long was this chase?
To my knowledge, I believe it was about half an hour, but I couldn't say for sure.
And how long was the foot chase going on, to your knowledge?
Foot chase, maybe 5 minutes or so.
Balls.
Were you, did you take any part of the arrest from there on?
I was sort of just there as backup in case he tried to do anything. I was just staged literally by the little car park spot, just opposite Legion Bank.
Do you remember what Marshaun was wearing?
I can't really remember.
That's okay. What officers took him into custody?
Officer Hart and Kate Bennett at the time.
No further questioning.
Defense, would you like to cross-examine?
Oh, hell yeah. Alright, Jonathan the Milkman Rogers, how are you?
Not too bad. Yourself, Marshaun?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So, when I exited the bank into a vehicle, what vehicle was that?
Think it was a Sullivan. I cannot
You
remember.
think it was assaulting, or you know it's assaulting?
I cannot remember. This happened quite a while ago.
All right, for sure. All right, then. So after the vehicle crashed and you said I jumped out, how long was the foot pursuit one more time?
To my knowledge, around 5 minutes.
To your knowledge. All right. Do you remember when Hart hit me with a baton while I was on the ground?
Yeah.
Tased on the ground. Tased me one time and then beat my ass on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I stood up, put my hands up, and he hit me again.
I was sort of further back, so I didn't really even see that your hands were up. I didn't hear or anything. I just witnessed you getting hit with a baton.
No further questions, John.
Redirect permission?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
How many times did you watch him get tased?
I can't remember, but at least 4 to 5 times.
Oh, you're fucking lying.
And
now.
after each time, did he get back up and continue to run?
Yes.
Cap.
No further questioning.
Oh, 1 second.
Uh-huh.
Defense, please refrain from any more outbursts in court.
Yeah, my bad, dog. She'd be lying on my name. Your Honor.
No further questions, right, prosecution?
Correct. No further questions.
All right, you are dismissed as a witness.
Still seeing you, milkman.
Any other witnesses, prosecution?
There's no other witnesses. I just wanted to note just a last sentence in Hart's affidavit, since he was the arresting officer. If that's okay.
Mr. Bradley, do you know where to find the affidavits on the docket?
Yeah, for sure.
Could you look over them for me?
Speaking
Yeah.
about the last one that was posted as well, mainly.
Yeah, give me one moment.
Mm-hmm.
Could you read
said
off
the
the
hard
sentence
affidavit?
you're referring to, prosecution?
Yeah, it's I searched Marshaun and can confirm all items shown in the exhibits were on his person at that time.
Thank you. All right, that will be noted. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
Can I get Rakeem Washington up here?
I am sorry, sir, but he's not one of the approved witnesses.
Yeah, I'm a witness, man.
I think he got arrested too.
Would he like to admit to also being involved in this robbery?
You like to shut your ass up? I'm talking to my boy, right? So can I come up here?
Oh.
We will not be accepting Mr. Washington as a witness at this time. Do you have
What a bozo.
any approved witnesses?
Nah, dog.
All right. We will be giving a brief recess of 2 to 5 minutes before taking closing statements. Make sure you eat and drink. Don't want anyone passing out in the courtroom.
All rise. Court is back in session.
I'll take a tip. Okay, you
All right, you may be seated. Could the defendant come up to his area?
Hey, listen, one more question, dog, before we start. Yeah, fuck it. I'm sitting down.
Gentleman in pink, could you please return to the gallery?
Sorry, Judge. I don't think they heard you.
Finn, sit the fuck down.
Can I speak with the judges prior to closing? Defendant's
Yes,
allowed
you
to
can
be there first.
approach. Alright, the defense has changed their plea to guilty, and I believe the prosecution dropped the charge of felony evading law enforcement vehicle. We will be moving on to sentencing at this time. Prosecution, do you have your recommendation ready?
Yes, I would be offering time served because he was sent for the crimes, and the fine I am taking off obviously the vehicle which I dropped, and 4K from the 2234.3 for a recommended fine of 27,500.
Thank you. Defense, do you have a recommendation?
Nah, I'll take that one. Oh yeah, what about the I did like 240 months for that shit. Can I get like compensated for that? About the charges that
I
were
can
dropped, what I
try
meant
and
by
find
that?
out how long he was sent for versus what is actually being charged.
Could you please do that? We'll take a 2-minute recess.
Let me see if I can do that.
Yo, Eddie, yeah.
All rise. Court is back in session.
Rakeem, sit down.
Okay,
You may be seated. Prosecution, were you able to figure out if he has served time yet?
Yeah, he served time and he served 20 months beyond what would be recommended in this sentencing. I don't know if that is valued at anything other than the Justice for All Act, which I was told values years.
No, ma'am, that only values years. You are correct.
Okay, then I will leave it to the court to decide beyond the recommendation.
Cut the man a break.
Also, can we have him come back up to his defendant's seat?
He's right there.
That is not him.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Marshaun, go to your seat, please.
Well, at least she noticed.
Gentlemen sitting at the defendant's seat currently, could you please return to the gallery?
Yes,
That
sir.
look like art and
Good
shit.
looks, Daryl, bro.
I'm a masterpiece.
Yeah, bro, no, bro. You good.
She knew I planned all along.
All right, with the pleas and everything taken into consideration, on the charge of armed federal bank robbery, PC 1106, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of PC 2106, hostage taking state, we find the defendant guilty. The charge of, one second, sorry. The charge of fleeing, eluding law enforcement on foot, PC 3112, we find the defendant guilty. The charge of PC 2309, felony evading law enforcement vehicle, was dropped by the state. On the charge of PC 2234.3, 3 times criminal possession of government issued equipment, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of PC 3211 times 22 possession of valuable goods, the state has dropped 21 of those charges. So for the one charge of possession of valuable goods, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of unregistered firearm, PC 3302, the state has dropped that charge. And on the charge of possession of illegal contraband, PC 3207, we find the defendant guilty. And on the charge of PC 3306, resisting arrest, we find the defendant guilty. I am going to go with the prosecution's recommendation of 105 months time served and a fine of $27,500 due to the nature of the crime and the defendant agreeing to those terms.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court is now adjourned. Could the defendant approach the bailiff here to have your fine paid?
For sure. What's the exact number again, Your Honor? Just to make sure I don't give him too much.